All right, welcome to today's podcast. The title, as you recall from our last session, is Leverage Your Voice. And today we have with us Jenn Troy. Now, you might recall in our last session, we talked with Casey Madden, and she was great. And she chuckled a little bit when I told her that my podcast had been nameless up until that session when we called it Leverage Your Voice, though I called it a number of different things because I still didn't remember the name of it. But today I'm ready. It's Leverage Your Voice. This is our second one under this new name. So Jenn, now you can't start the podcast like Casey did, but it's possible that we could do so bad that we have to end that name after you. So you could be infamous. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So, but let's hope that doesn't happen. It'll be good. It'll be good. So let's start by you just sort of introducing yourself a little bit and talking to us a little bit about who you serve and what you do for them. Does that seem reasonable? Let's try that.
That's amazing. All right. Hello, I'm Jenn Troy. I'm the owner of the Troy Method. I'm wildly passionate about holistic and chiropractic healthcare. And so what my business does is helps chiropractic and holistic practitioners convert leads that they're getting from their marketing efforts, converts them into new patient appointments. We have a mission to help as many patients as possible know that there's better ways to be healthy. And I get to do that by the clinics, working with the clinics that I serve.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it almost sounds like the clinic is your customer, but really the patient is the person that you are really committed to serving. You can't serve them directly, so you work through the doctor's offices and holistic care people so that you can help them get these people in to get the great services that they offer. Does that sound about right?
That is exactly right. Yeah. And it's very interesting, and just I'm super grateful. And I just take a step back because there are instances where people I've never spoken to reach out to me because they might see some of my content I put online or a referral that I put out there for a doctor that I work with, and they'll reach out to me privately, and I've touched a life. So yes, my mission is wholeheartedly like to help patients, but the vessel that I get to do it, my clients, are the clinics that I get to work with. And this all started because I ran a practice, and I always laugh and joke that I drank the Kool-Aid. I drank the Kool-Aid of the profession. And I want more people to know what I know and have the experience that I've experienced in my own health, my family's health, our lives. This is literally the hill I could die on. I'm so extremely passionate about educating people.
Well, we don't want you to die on any hills, so
I won't die on a hill.
okay,
Maybe.
let's keep you chugging along. Now, just as a personal note, and I know this from experience, didn't you just move into a new house?
Oh, I did. It's awesome. Thank
Gotta
you
be
for
excited
asking.
about that.
I'm very excited about that. First time we've ever done a home renovation, a massive home renovation. Didn't even realize that was as big of a thing as it became. And we just moved in. So it was a 6-month process. We didn't even know it was going to be that long. You know, Paul, that I had to move out the move date from the other house into this house a couple times, which was its own level of stress. But we've been in since April 1st, and we absolutely love it. All through all the pain and the stress and the struggling there, we knew there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and we are in our dream home. We absolutely love it. 5 acres. I just planted the garden this weekend. Gonna live off the land a little bit more like I've always wanted to. So it's hopefully all up from here. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
That's great. Now, one of the measurements that we have for whether you did a good job or not is, are you still married after all of that?
Yes, happily. I try to do I'm trying to do a better job of letting my husband know how much I appreciate him. So sent a little text this morning and said, I love the home. I love the life that we've built and are building. And I love doing it with you and my kids. So yeah, we're still good.
Oh, that's good. That's a good sign. Now,
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about the work that you do. And what I want to ask you to do is maybe share a story about a success story, a success that you had in working with a doctor? Maybe either a new doctor that you started working with or someone you've been working with for a while. Either way, give us a little story about something that may have happened that would be interesting to people.
Yep. Awesome. Well, again, I think to really resonate with me, some of the best success stories are when we're seeing what happens to patients when they come to these offices. Those are like, again, the core of what we do. And our team talks about it all the time, even though we're like 5 foot away from being in the office, or whatever the term would be for that. We're at an arm's length, right? But from a like win, one of the most recent ones was really cool. And like, I get chills talking about it. Like that's how I still feel about what I do every day. The pain points that our clinics feel before they start to work with us is that they're spending a lot of money on marketing. They're getting marketing from maybe Facebook or Google ads or radio ads or newspaper ads, mailers, whatever it is. And they're spending a lot of money on these marketing leads, and nothing's really happening. Like nothing's coming out of it. So they might be frustrated with the agency. Like, I'm spending a lot of money and these leads aren't coming into the office. But there's typically a gap in that process. The gap in the process is they've got a lot of leads, but when they come in through the channels they come into, their staff isn't following up properly, doesn't know how to follow up properly, hasn't been trained to follow up properly, and then the leads fall off and die, and it's money just burnt up. And that's where our team comes in. So one of the most recent stories, I love it so much, is I actually met a doctor recently at one of the Black Diamond Club events we went to in Dallas. Shout out to them. It was an awesome event. Probably one of the best I've been to so far, and I've been to a few. I had met this doctor in prior BDC events, but we had met and he was going through those pains, exactly those pains of, I'm super frustrated, spending a lot of dollars, nothing's happening, what's going on? And we just talked because I worked in a practice. I feel the pain. I've been in that pain too. Long story short, he's like, okay, let's work together, Jen. Like it sounds like I need you. And that was a Friday when we were there, and come Monday, I didn't hear from him. Tuesday, didn't hear from him. Wednesday, didn't hear from him, but I heard, and we followed up, and I heard from him the next day, and he's like, look, I'm not ghosting you. I'm just so overwhelmed with what's going on right now. We had a really good conversation because we built a relationship at that event. We talked a few times and sat and had lunch together a couple times and really got to know a little bit more about each other. And so on that phone call, I really felt compelled. I don't know if that's the right word, but in this moment, that's all I'm thinking. I felt like I needed to help him in some way. I felt so bad for him that he was stuck in this moment. So I decided to test something that I've never done before. And I said, look, I want to help you. I feel bad that you're in this situation. I know I have a tool and a team that can help make this better. We just wanted to jump into his system for one day and see if he's really had a lead problem, like what's the problem? Because in 3 weeks, his staff was only able to schedule 3 appointments to come to his office out of like 150 leads. That's not good results. That's struggling real bad. 150 leads, only 3 convert to an appointment. And then you got to hope they show up. So we went in that day and I'm like, just tell me a little bit about your schedule. We did like a mini powwow of his clinic, and I got to know his clinic and how to schedule. And that next day, my team and I started making calls. I don't usually get on the phones anymore, but it was fun. I miss calling patients. My team and I, another person, focused on his clinic, called about 60 people, only about half of the leads, and booked 7 appointments for his practice in one day, where it took 3 weeks to do 3 from his staff. And so it really shined a light on that it wasn't necessarily the problem with marketing or the leads that were coming in. It was just a staff. And it's not that staff is bad. Like, let's be clear on that. It's that they didn't have the tools or they didn't know how to. And that's where we come in. And it was just, long story short, then we started working together, and it's been amazing. I'm always grateful to get to work with them, because all those appointments we scheduled are people's lives that we're impacting. And that's really why I love to do what I do. And I'm impacting his, because we're making his clinic grow and see more people and serve more people.
Yeah, that's a great way to get started with someone. What's the normal way that a doctor who might need your services would start working with you? Would they just call and say, hey, come out tomorrow? Or what's the process that they would normally go through?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. A lot of my clinics come through referrals from the marketing agencies that they work with, but that's not the only way. I get a lot of doctor to doctor referrals as well. But the way they start having a conversation with me is a strategy call. We get on a call together, like you and I are doing right now, Paul, and we talk about whether or not like what they're going through and whether or not we're a good fit for each other, and if we're a good fit for their practice and to serve them, and how we play into helping them with their patients and what they're struggling with. So it's that call that begins the process.
All right, so they have a strategy call, everything goes well. And then what's some of the next steps that somebody would go through to continue the path to get started with?
Good question. If we're all thumbs up and we think we're a good fit for each other, the very next step is getting on an onboard call. So they sign up. They're going to be a client. And we get on an onboard call. I actually was just on one right before I got on this call with you. And that onboard call is the powwow of learning their clinic. And we're good at it. Like, we have years of experience on our team. I'm not the only one who has in-office experience with patients, but we get on an onboard call and we learn about you. How do we schedule? How do you like us to talk to your patients? Do you call them members? Do you call them patients? All the minute details that allows us to operate as an extension of the clinics and how they want to be represented. We do not want to feel like a marketing agency or a slimy sales team. We want them to feel like we're another team member, and we want their patients to feel the same thing.
Awesome. So once you get started through that process and you get turned on, so to speak, about how long is it before the doctor and the clinic starts to feel results? Because I know you said 7 in the one day. What is that normal, or how does it get started? What's the ramp up? How's it go?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It can be normal. And I think, again, there's a testament there of there's so many variables on the marketing front of where they're coming from. I don't like to use the word quality necessarily. I feel like that's a bit of a buzz word in the marketing world. I think that's a subjective term. But there is a lot of variables for a lead to get to us. What the ads say, what the offer is, all the things that I don't have control over until they get to us. But that day we booked 7 appointments. That's the day we're talking to them. He saw most of them, or had his phone consultations with most of them that Monday, that Tuesday, that Wednesday. So there was an immediate, as soon as we start and go live and start calling we want to get patients scheduled right away, because they need help and they need it now. So we get them scheduled. So they see them from the day they say, yes, Jen, let's go. It's usually a couple weeks, right? Because we have the onboard process. And once we go live, it can be a couple days once we start making phone calls for them to see the first patient walk in the door.
Okay. And once you get started, is there like a push from your team early in the relationship to spend more time? And then as it gets going, you sort of get into a more of a sustainable level? Is there like a push up front and then it drops off a little bit where you now just continue to serve at a different level? Or is it you just jump in and then you stay at that level all the time?
Great question, because I feel like that's what happens with a lot of traditional marketing agencies, where they push hard at the beginning and then things die off. I get that feedback from doctors all the time. I saw that when I was hiring agencies for our practice, but no, we stay on, and we stay on at the same level all the time. So we manage their accounts for them Monday through Friday in their 8:30 to 6 in their time zone. They're hiring a full-time person essentially when they work with us. And we are in there throughout the day, all day, managing leads that are coming in, calling old leads. Their dollar goes farther by working with us because we never let leads die. Never let leads die. If any coach or anybody has ever told you to just stop following up with leads, they're wrong. Always follow up. And that I'm a big advocate for, again, if I'm thinking about what the patient needs, I want them to get to the office that I'm serving because I believe in what they're doing. And I don't want them to go get drugs, and I don't want them to go do a surgery. It all goes back to my mission. So no, we're on all the time. The only thing we do differently is one lead comes in and we may call the leads heavy, that particular person, for a certain period of time for a while, right when they're new, right when they're hot, and then it might taper off. But from a level of how we serve the clinic, we are on and we stay on. We don't ever taper down.
That makes sense. Now, if a doctor or clinic's coming to you, I don't want you to give me any numbers or anything, but you probably are able to show them, look, if we bring in X number of potential clients or patients, whatever it is, this is sort of where you break even with us, and above that, it's just gravy for you. So do you have those kinds of numbers to share with people when they come to you so that they can make a decision, not just on loving you or what you do, but on real numbers?
Yeah, on data.
Yeah.
Yes, on the data. Yeah, so I share with them typically like what our metrics are. So what they can expect with lead volume, like how many leads are coming into them and how many we typically convert to appointments. Our conversion rate is about 40%. I'm happy to share that with you. It's out there. I've been tracking it for 3 years. So if I do simple math, simple brain, I can't do math in my head very good. So I use simple numbers. If 100 leads come in, we convert about 40% of those to booked appointments. But interestingly, of 100 leads that come in, usually about 50% of them drop off and they're like, they ghost. So we book 40% of them as new patient appointments. We're actually converting engaged people that stay in, at about 70%. So we have a very high engagement conversion. And then the doctor will be like, well, that's great. Booked appointments is wonderful, but how about show rates? Like how many people are showing up? I don't like to mislead here. We typically see 50% show rates if they're not having us collect some form of payment to have the patient put a little skin in the game. If we're collecting a payment or a deposit for the appointment over the phone, then our show rates drastically increase, 70-75% for most of our clinics that are collecting some form of payment deposit when we schedule the appointment. So that's some of the stats that I share, because I also collect that data from the clinics when they onboard with us. I ask some of those, like, what's your current conversion rate? Most often, the average is anywhere between 5 to 15% of converting their leads to booked appointments.
Plus, they then have the same 50% show rate of those.
Correct. Or less, because their team also doesn't do the follow-up to remind and go through that as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So those are some real numbers that you can share with doctors, clinic owners, things like that. And when you're working with them on stuff like that, do they get it? Do they get the numbers? Do they just connect to that right away? Or does that take some effort to help them understand that?
That's a great question. I think continual education on my part throughout our process is important. So a lot of, I would say my ideal clients get it. Like the ones who have marketed a lot of years on and off, understand the ebbs and flows and what goes into it. And it takes a little time and all the things. But it is also my job to reiterate and educate on those metrics and why they're good or bad or otherwise. So we meet with our teams regularly, meet with our clinics regularly to go over that. It's a really good question though, because it is important that the people that work with us do understand them. Most of them do, especially when they're struggling.
Yep. And once you're rolling with them, how often do you meet with them so that you have these check-ins and they know what's going on and they have the information they need to continue working with you?
Yep. We meet with our true check-in calls once a month. That's to go over monthly stats with them. But my team just got some really great feedback, actually from that same doctor I was mentioning earlier. My team is in communication with the staff in the office like every day. It's literally like they're working together, just like clinics work together. They're just not in the same building. So there's communication daily with our teams, and it's positive and it's good and it's interactive. But the actual scheduled meetings is at a minimum once a month to go over metrics, change anything we need to, celebrate the wins, work on opportunities. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, if I'm a doctor, clinic owner, whatever it might be, and I'm watching this podcast and I'm saying to myself, hey, my close rates are 5 or 10%, and then I got a show rate of 50% of that or less.
Mhm.
And I may or may not believe, Jen, but I want to learn more. How are they going to find you and reach out to you so that they can come to believe in you after talking with you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Paul. Believe me, docs. It's my website. That's the easiest way, www.thetroymethod.com. You can schedule a call. Don't feel stressed about it. Like it's not a stressful call. I want to genuinely help whomever I need to, make sure we're a good fit. If we're not, that's okay too. But that's the easiest way. Website for sure. I'm on Facebook too. I like Facebook, but the website really tells you more about who we are and who we serve and what we believe in, and a little bit more about us.
Okay, so the Troy Method, TROY, thetroymethod.com is how they get to you.
Yes, you
And
got it.
if I reach out to the Troy Method through the website, I'm assuming I can email you or connect in some way there. How long will it take before I hear from someone and I'm talking to someone?
Right away. Kind of like we need to follow up with the leads. So what you'll do is you'll go to my website, typically fill out the form. So we get your information, and you can schedule a call with me right through the website if you'd like. If not, you can still fill out the form and we'll see it come through just like your leads do. And just like your staff does, as soon as you come in, one of my team would respond. Possibly my amazing executive assistant, Macy. She's usually on the back end helping me filter through.
Awesome. And I assume on the website you have some testimonials from some of the clinics that you're
We do. What if I didn't, Paul? What would I say if I didn't?
Well, I'm assuming you're a
Yes.
good business owner, but I know you are.
Yep. So we do have some. And there are times when one of the doctors wants to work with me, wants to talk to one that I've worked with. And I've also had that happen where I get it. It's scary to potentially hire a service you've never hired before, to do something out of the box that you've always had your staff do it. How's that going for you? I have docs that will talk to docs that are questioning and unsure of our service. We're happy to refer, and so that they know, have a real phone call with somebody who has used us and works with us. So
Good. Well, that's excellent. I want to ask you this. We're almost to the end here.
yeah.
So my question for you is, do you have anything else you want to share? We've talked about a lot of things. And if I were interested in your services, I could sit and watch this and I would know an awful lot about you, how to get a hold of you, and what to expect. So that's kind of cool. But anything else you want to share with somebody who's watching thinking, hey, I want to get a hold of these people?
I think don't overthink it. I think that's the message. I really do want what's best for patients, and that means I want what's best for the clinics, and I want to serve at the highest level. And don't overthink it. A conversation doesn't hurt. I know that coming from a chronic overthinker, and trying to get better at just being decisive and making decisions, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't feel like we're a good fit. I want what's best for your practice regardless, because I've been there, I've done that, and I've been in the shoes of the clients that I now serve. 7 years I ran a practice and had to make these decisions. So I also have that hat on a lot when I'm making decisions about the process for my business and how we want it to look and how our experience for our clinics and our doctors needs to be. So don't overthink it. I'm not going to bite. Schedule a call, and we'll see if we can work together and see if we're a good fit.
Perfect. So if somebody's interested, go to the website, thetroymethod.com.
Yes.
Fill in the form, schedule a call, or fill in a form, and they'll get back to you, and you're
Yeah.
on your way.
Yep. And if that's scary, Jenn at thetroymethod.com. Email me, JENN at thetroymethod.com. Send an email if that's safer.
And that's the simple steps to get started with you so that any one of these clients of yours, any one of these clinics, doctors, whatever it is, can take their office from wherever they're at, just start stair-stepping on their way into lots and lots more business, which they have the same model that you have, the same mental model. They're there to help people.
Yes.
And the more people that come in their office, the more they can help. So it really is a perfect combination for them working with you, you working with them. You both want the same thing, to help those people who are in trouble and need the help.
Yes, 1000%.
Awesome. Well, Jenn, this has been great. I've enjoyed this. I'm glad you joined. I hope in today's session, now this is why it's titled this, so watch this. I hope you feel like you were able to leverage your voice today.
I feel like I was. I love doing this and I appreciate you. More people need to know. And that's why I'm here. So I appreciate you so much.
We should name this People Need to Know, like those funny movies.
Leverage your voice because people need to know.
There you go. I like it.
Love it.
I like it. All right. Well, wave bye. Say goodbye, everyone. Bye, everyone. We will
Bye.
see you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again with our next guest. Jenn, thank you so very much.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you.